In this video, I'm going to run you through the entire sprint business model, sprint by sprint from start to finish. I have this color coded for you in 4 different colors. They do map to the sprints that we have. Anything here in yellow, this is going to be part of our first sprint. We call it our strategy sprint, aka the roadmap sprint. Anything here in blue is going to be part of the content sprint, that's sprint number 2. Anything in red is going to be the link sprint. And then finally, anything in gray here is going to relate to any sort of admin or AM and PM work, which I'll explain as we get into it. So this process diagram does map out the entire client lifecycle. This would be if they went through all 3 sprints at a time. What you're going to find as you go through this system is we 90% of the time are just focused on selling this strategy sprint and then upselling more sprints. The reason why we do that is because if we can get our foot in the door with a client for a lower ticket offer, it's much easier to sell that on the front end. And then we're also much more likely to upsell sprints on the back end. Our agency has an 80% resell rate after a strategy sprint. And the reason is because, again, we get our foot in the door, we get comfortable, the client likes us, they see that we do good work, and we're essentially getting paid to do a very detailed proposal. That's what's great about this process too, is that it doesn't require the in-depth analysis and proposals that a traditional SEO contract does, because when you're trying to pitch 12 months worth of work, you got to show all the reasons why and justify 12 months worth of work, as opposed to this simple strategy sprint where it's just like, hey, look, at every other agency out there is pitching you a 12-month contract. We're going to do all this work in a very short period of time, and then you're going to know exactly what your specific website needs to do to get SEO results, because until somebody gets in and sees your data and starts working with your website, they can't really know. So not only does it sell better on the front end, but it upsells great on the back end. But again, these are all put together as one cohesive process if they were to go through buy this, and then buy this. So let's start off over here. These 2 that I have here are lead gen and sales. I just put these into the process so you can see how our other programs fit into productization. We do have dedicated teachings and coachings for lead generation. We teach you Facebook ads, we teach you outbound sales, we teach you some content marketing. That's the way to build demand for your agency and generate leads, which then feeds directly into your sales process. Sales is not a part of this module here, but again, we do have coachings and teachings if you're more interested in learning about how to sell SEO sprints. But as soon as that agreement is signed, we move into client onboarding. This is the first part of the strategy sprint. Really the first part of any client engagement is really doing a good client onboarding. It lets them feel like you're ahead of the game, you know what you're doing, and that you're coming in with a plan. So essentially what we do in here is we create a Google Drive folder where we store all their documents. We send them a very detailed onboarding email that also asks for account access, and it also has a series of discovery questions so we can get to know their company a little bit better. It also has a link for them to schedule a call, to have a kickoff call, which we'll talk about in a second. And then the final part of the process is just communicating this internally. So we have a sales team here at our agency, and after our sales team closes the deal, we want to make sure our delivery team knows that. So we just post something in Slack and let them know all the deals that have signed on that week. So our delivery team knows exactly what's coming down the pipeline in terms of their workload. After we run through that client onboarding process, which takes about a day, we go into project planning. Another beautiful thing about this sprint model is that we are literally using the exact same templated project plans over and over again with absolutely no modifications. Our strategy sprint project plan is about 8 lines, literally copy and paste job that we put directly into our project management tracker, and we are good to go. Once we have the project plan built, which takes less than an hour, we then move into the client kickoff call. The client obviously needs to be here. We try to get all this done within the first week of a client jumping on board with us. Yeah, whenever somebody pays you a large sum amount of money, they want action right away. They don't want to wait 2 weeks for you to start looking into their project. So on day 1, we get them the onboarding information. On day 2, we build the project plan. Then hopefully by day 3, we're having a kickoff call with them to review everything and really get the campaign rolling. So after we do this, the first part of the sprint is the website quality audit. And just for a note too, anytime you see this shape here, this denotes a deliverable. This also maps directly to a template that we give you inside of the program here that we're going to run you through. And then these other things here are kind of a sub part of that process. So the website quality audit, this is really our flagship audit. We use this, we call it the Swiss Army knife of SEO audits because it literally kind of folds and transforms into every element in every branch of a campaign that we'll run. So this audit pulls in data from 6 different sources. It aggregates it at the URL level. We've got a ton of trainings to show you how to do this. And the first thing that we do with this data is we look for technical roadblocks. So we don't do long technical SEO checklists. We find them to be a waste of time and clients don't really use them. They're also very inactionable. But we still want to go through and check the technical roadblocks to make sure that there's nothing standing in the way of that website of getting more traffic. So we'll go through that. That takes about 4 to 5 hours depending on the size of the website. And we'll put together a matrix that has a list of itemized of all the things that need to be completed and fixed in order to remove the technical roadblocks from the website. We'll then also use the website quality audit to do a content audit. So we'll essentially look at all the content that they have on their website And we'll make a determination if we want to update it, rewrite it, if it's still relevant, if we should delete it, etc. And the reasons for this is because most traffic increases are going to come from content they already have on their website. It takes longer for Google to rank and index a new page than to update an old page, which is already in the index, and get it to punch up in the rankings. Old pages might also have links, internal links, a whole bunch of equity with search engines that we can get them to rank faster. So first, we want to remove technical roadblocks. Second, we want to look to improve pages on their website. Now, we're not actually going to improve them right now. All we're doing is we're building a list of pages that should be improved, and I'll talk about that more in a second. So after we go through both of these, this takes about 10 hours. This is by far the most time-consuming and labor-intensive part of this entire process. In fact, you'll notice that the strategy sprint has a lot more actions than everything else in here. But once you get the flow of this, it doesn't really take more than 14 hours to do this entire sprint. So again, we do the website quality audit, we check for technical issues, we check for content that we want to update. And then what we want to do here is we also want to migrate this stuff into the content workbook, which I'll talk more about in a second. You can also see this is in blue because this is part of the strategy sprint. But this is really a template that we're going to use in the future to make sure the client has a running list of all the content that we want to work on. I'll talk more about that in just one second. So after we complete the website quality audit, we're going to move into what we call the competitor keyword analysis, aka the keyword gap analysis. And what this template does is it pulls in the client's website rankings. So we see everything that's ranking on their website, all their pages, and then it pulls up to 10 competitors and pulls in their keyword rankings. And what the template does then shows us the gaps where your client is not ranking that your competitors are. And what we can use this for is keyword research. This gives us the seed keyword ideas for us to start formulating topics for us to create new pages around. So we're also going to take those and migrate those in the content workbook. And what this looks like, right? Through the website quality, we've identified all the technical issues that want to be done. We now have a matrix, a punch list ready to go. Update these, change this, fix these canonicals, etc. Right? We've then reviewed the content on their website, and we've looked at pages that have potential, pages that we can update and get more traffic. We're going to take those and we're going to migrate those into a content workbook, a very simple template that is literally just lists out, hey, these are the pages that we think you can update, 25 of them or so to get more traffic. Then we're going to take the keyword gap analysis, the keywords from here, we're going to look at those keywords, and we're going to teach you how to formulate those into clusters and topics. We're then going to take those and we're going to push those into the content workbook here. So now what we have is a content workbook full of pages to update and full of new keyword topics that we can attack for more content. So essentially what we have here is all the content, all the URLs that we need to work on over the life of the campaign, barring some foreseen things in the future where we want to add more stuff into it. But we're already starting to get very detail organized here about the content that we want to move in the next part of the sprint, the next part of the campaign, which makes it much easier to sell that content sprint because now we have a content workbook that's like, hey, here's everything that we need to work on. Can we get started? We charge you for 10 of these at a time, blah, blah, blah. I'll talk about that in 1 second. So again, the keyword gap analysis here, we're not doing detailed keyword research. This only takes about 2 to 4 hours to go through this and pull out some keywords that we find relevant. We are not doing very detailed keyword matrices here. And the reason for that is because clients don't care about them. They don't want a matrix with 10,000 keywords in it that they're never going to use. They want something actionable. So we just want to give them the keywords that we think they should be building around as a topic. That in itself has a lot of value because they can look at that and then they can say, okay, well, we'll create a blog post around this, or we'll create a resource guide around this, or they'll pay us to do that for them, which I'll talk about in 1 second. So with the website quality audit done, competitor keyword analysis done, now we're going to finalize everything in this sprint with the SEO strategy. So you can see here too that these feed into the content workbook, the keyword gap feeds in the content workbook, and then we're feeding the content workbook into the SEO strategy. The SEO strategy is basically a culmination of everything that we've done so far. We're going to compile the technical information from the website quality audit. We're going to compile the content updates from the website quality audit. We're going to compile the keywords from the competitor analysis into this file, aka everything that we have in the content workbook. We're also going to run an SEO snapshot report just to show them where their website currently is when starting with us, so that way we can baseline and track their results going forward. We're also going to do a very light Google Analytics audit just to make sure that they're tracking goal conversions or some sort of revenue, so that way they can see their ROI from their increases in traffic over time. And then we're going to do some very high level link building info, right? So when we look at everything that we have here, we have everything that they need from a technical point of view. They have a technical matrix that they can review. Here's what to do, fix this, blah, blah, blah. Technical taken care of. Part number 2 is content and keywords. We have a list of all the keywords they should attack, and we have a list of all the pages from a content point of view that they should update. So they've got a content matrix, technical matrix, and content matrix at this point. They've also now got some high level information about links, about what type of links that they should be targeting. So when we look at our 3 buckets of SEO, the technical stuff, the content and on-page and keywords, and then links. We've got all three of them, aka our 3 sprints, ready to go. We've already sold the strategy sprint, so we're compiling that in here. We're going to present that to them on the strategy call, which is a very, very important deliverable because we basically call this like an implementation call. We run them through the entire deck over about an hour. We show them everything, and then essentially they're left in a place where it's, okay, you can take this information and do it yourself. Here's your technical stuff to fix, here's your content stuff to work on, and here's your links to build. Or they can then pay us to do it for them. And that's the beauty of this model is 80% of the time, literally, they're like, yeah, why don't you just do it for us? So at that point, on this strategy call, this is our upsell call. This is what we're using here to then upsell into our content sprint if we haven't sold multiple sprints in the beginning. Because sometimes a client will just come in and be like, yeah, let me get all 3 sprints. So we'll just do all 3 of them. However, most of the time we're selling the strategy sprint and then upselling people into content and upselling people into links. And we're able to do that using this very simple strategy deck because, again, we've got all 50 pages of content that they should work on. Then we've got links that they should target. So those 2 things right there, it becomes, hey, you can do this yourself. Here's everything that you need. We're on a call. We'll walk you through everything. Or we can charge you for 10 links and we can charge you for 10 content briefs. So it's very simple. There's no additional proposals needed. There's no additional research needed. Everything is needed. This SEO strategy is essentially a proposal to move to the next level, which is selling content briefs and selling links. And that's why this is so simple here. Because after we wrap up the strategy sprint, now all we're doing is content briefs and link acquisition. And you can see here too how this just feeds in the content workbook. We're just using this for content briefs. So everything in here, we're just feeding this in and we're doing content briefs off of this. And then we're building links off the back of the content that we build in the content workbook. So our link acquisition comes off of the URLs here in the content workbook. It's very simple. So now literally this content workbook is pretty much running the entire campaign. We're using this to generate new pages and we're using this to generate links. So this file, like I said, we put it together here. It doesn't take very long, but now this basically becomes an SEO, literally an SEO roadmap. Everything that we're doing for the rest of the campaign lives in this content workbook. It's very, very simple. So the way that we do content is, and you can write content if you want. At this current time, our agency does not write content, but what we do is we build what's called a content brief. So it's a very, very detailed content outline that has, title, keywords to use, and then an outline of the article that you can then pass to a writer and have them write. So the way that this works for us is we charge $350 per content brief for a minimum of 10. So most clients come on, they sign up for 10 or 20 content briefs, which is between $3,500 and $7,000 in revenue. We then just build these briefs for them and pass them back to them. And we're usually done with these in about 2.5 to 3 weeks, depending on the complexity of the articles. Same thing with links. We just sell links at $350 per link in batches of a minimum of 10. Most clients will get 10 or 20. So this between these two here is $14,000 in revenue that we're picking up off of a $3,500 to $5,000 SEO strategy. And again, we're basically getting paid to do this proposal here, which is essentially what it is, to then just upsell more work for them right here. For links too, we outsource this 100%. I don't really believe in doing link building in-house. It's just way too much work, way too much energy, and the profit margins aren't there. Instead, we just partner with vendors who can map and fit into our process and still get the same quality of links. So it saves us money, it saves us a ton of time, and it saves us a ton of headaches, and we're able to get things done very quickly and just eat off the margin that we're selling these links for. So we're going to show you how to do all this. We have a very specific criteria when working with vendors, and we're going to teach you on how to do all these sprints throughout this program. The final piece is just reporting. So another beautiful part about the system is because we're not on a monthly contract, we don't have to do monthly reports. So instead what we did is we put together very simple reporting templates that literally just show them, they're automated in Google Data Studio, that just show them how much their traffic is progressing over time. We basically use these reports kind of as upsell templates. So we'll send it to them if they ask once per month. You can also charge for that, $500 a month for reporting if you want to. There's another beautiful part about this whole system is the ability to tack on work very easily without doing a full proposal. For example, when we look at the technical fixes from the analytics, from the website quality audit, this is an easy upsell for $2,500 for us to fix this. Because if they don't have a developer, they don't have somebody who knows what they're doing, then on this strategy call here, we say, yeah, we have a developer, we can take care of this for you, like $2,500. Yeah, we can take care of content for you, it's $350 per content brief, a minimum of 10. Yeah, we can take care of links for you. It's $350 per link for a minimum of 10. Sound good? Boom. There's $20,000 right there, upsold without a sales process, without a proposal, right there on the call. Done. Easiest way to sell SEO services. So again, just back to reporting. Again, we have a whole reporting suite for you that you can pull off the shelf and use. We don't really use reports that much, like I said, because most of our clients are on this short-term basis. If they ask for a report, then we'll send it to them. Or like I said, let's say we do a sprint in January of a new year, and then we only do that one sprint, and we do content, whatever, and we're done by February. 6 to 8 months later, we can use this report to say, hey, look at how much your traffic has grown. Why don't we do another sprint? So it becomes an upsell tool to upsell people that we've already upsold. So you can see how this system becomes very symbiotic with each other, and it just becomes a natural upsell cycle where once we do the strategy sprint once, we don't have to do it again. Now our whole focus is stripped down and simplified. It's just a matter of building more content and building more links, and that's exactly the situation that you want to be in as an agency. Just getting paid to do the execution, the easy part of it, where you're directly impacting your traffic. Because honestly, all this stuff up here doesn't really impact traffic that much. You're really not going to get somebody huge explosive gains from doing keyword research or from fixing technical roadblocks or from doing content audit. The action is what drives the revenue. So when you fix the technical errors, when you create the content, when you build the links, that's when the traffic actually comes. All this other stuff here is just a necessary evil of doing SEO to make sure that we're doing the right thing by the client and by the website and following the right strategy and the right path. But that's all we want. That's also why we want to get paid for it instead of doing it as a proposal, which so many agencies do. And that's why so many agencies are upside down, because they're doing all this work and they're not getting paid for it, and the client doesn't sign, and now they're stuck in this downward cycle. Instead, we flip the script. Now we're getting paid to do all that, and now our focus here is super simple. Once we get through this, it's so simple. It's content briefs and links. This is outsourced. So really what we're doing is building content briefs for clients. That's kind of the core deliverable of what we do, and that's also why our clients get so much traffic, because we're building so much content and building so many links, and we're not focused on, finding a new canonical tag error that popped up and let's talk about how to do it and spend too much. No, we don't do that shit. Forget it. It's done. We figured that out in the beginning. After that's done, we move on, and now we're focused on growth. And that's why our clients love us, and that's why our clients get results, and that's why our business is growing so much, because it's simple. They understand it. And as they go through this process, and as we pitch them this process, they understand how simple SEO can be, and they understand where to invest their money in SEO. And it's all the way over here. So that's the entire SEO Sprint business model. As always, if you have any questions, please hit us up in Slack. We are here to help you out. Hopefully you're not confused by this, because this is by far the most simple SEO model that you will ever find. It's also by far the most profitable. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video.